Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the #1 sports betting vibe on the internet. Up 28 units on the Patreon when it comes to anytime touchdown.
Huge.
What a run.
Yeah, it's a great number to see.
Fuck yeah, man. I've been calculating everything. It made me feel good. Had a nice weekend, both in the UFC and in NFL betting. 2-2 on the picks on the show for myself. I know you had a winning week on the show, which is always good. Yeah.
Love to see it.
Raiders could cover that 3.5, where we are recording this as the game is going on here in Vegas, the Cowboys and the Raiders. The toxic one was the Cowboys -3.5, so we took the Raiders +3.5 for a winning week. But yeah, dude, it was a really, really fun weekend. It's always good. Back-to-back weeks, you have monster weeks. And this time I actually posted a bunch of them in the Patreon. So patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. You had an awesome week. You went down to, hold on, Death Valley.
Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was a sight to behold. There was Tiger fans that showed up for an 11:45 a.m. kickoff, which is very unlike LSU. They are pro night game, everything to get drunk in the middle of the day and then end the night off with Tiger football is the way that they prefer it. But they showed up. It shocked me how many people were actually there and hammered, and they were a better team than they had shown in previous weeks since the firing of Brian Kelly. And you can feel how much the LSU fans are craving the national championship times that they experienced with Joe Burrow. The stadium is, it shakes, bro. And it wasn't even packed to full capacity, but I'll send Flamingo the clip right now. They showed all the NFL players that have played at LSU, and they saved Joe Burrow for last, obviously. And the pop is so cool because the claps will just continuously get louder, and then they know it goes Jaden Daniels, and then they go to the Bengals and they show Daddy Joe. And it is a very fun environment. LSU ranks high for me, and it wasn't even packed, so I have to go back eventually for a night game and do the full experience. But Arkansas loses yet again, another one-score game. I feel bad for my brother. So bad, bro. 2-8. They haven't won a game since they played shit Division II schools. They beat Arkansas State. They're Division I. But, I mean, fuck, bottom of the barrel, bro.
Yeah.
It's been a rough season for the family, but this week they play what I would consider is the most fraud fucking team in all of college football. Arkansas is 19.5-point underdogs against Texas at Texas. Oh, every game that Arkansas plays comes down to the last drive. 19.5 points is crazy.
Okay.
Early Monday winner.
Okay.
Put it in.
I
don't give a fuck.
Little college
don't
bowl?
care.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yes.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm 19.5. They play one-score games? Come on, bro. That's a layup. That's a layup there. Dude, I'm looking at LSU Tigers in the NFL. Would you say Joe Burrow's the most successful one? Or the biggest name? Like, how would you define that? Because I'm trying to think of the pop that he got.
It's just a national championship pop.
So it's
even
more
Jaden,
of his college.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So the pop that I was referring to is just like the stadium. Everybody was in Joe Burrow jerseys. There was not a single Whit Weeks jersey. There was no Garrett Nussmeier jerseys. They don't sell them. It's Joe Burrow or nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
They want chips, bro. I understand.
They want chips, and I know this is a lot of college football talk, and we don't do a lot of college football talk, but Lane Kiffin is rumored to have gone down there and possibly taken an interview, crushing it with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is like, bro, why do you want to leave? And he's like, I want that.
Yeah.
Like, you guys love me at Ole Miss, but what they would do to me at LSU is I would literally be able to own Louisiana. So that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun weekend.
No, that's dope, man. I love that you've been traveling, and shouts to your brother, Double Nichols down there at Arkansas. Hopefully he moves on and, gets drafted. I've never been to a draft party, so that'll be super fire. I'm coming to the crib 100%. I can't wait for that. It's going to be dope. My weekend was really fun. UFC on Saturday was super popping. We've been getting a lot of feedback that we don't talk enough UFC during the football season, and I understand it was a banger of a card over the weekend. Really profited. The coolest thing was this dude Michael Morales, right? He's a 170er. He's 25 years old. He's Ecuadorian. He speaks no English, right? And he fought this dude Sean Brady, who's the number 2 contender at 170. And prior to the event and before media day, the way I go about UFC betting is I see a matchup and in my head I'm like, all right, this guy has a path over this guy if he does this, and then vice versa. So like Brady, I bet him by submission because he's one of the best submission artists in the UFC, especially at 170. Morales' grappling hasn't really been tested, but standing, it's a massive disadvantage for Brady. So I'm like, I'm probably going to bet Michael Morales by TKO and then bet Brady by submission. Brady was like plus 500 by submission, a Patreon pick. And then Morales was plus 375 by TKO. And then, bro, he goes to the press conference and he's wearing the pink mink like Cameron.
Oh, my God.
And they asked him about it. And he's like, apparently my team was telling me that to embrace New York, this is what I got to wear. And I was like, lock it in, baby. Plus 375. Michael Morales stops Sean Brady, takes the 2 ranking from him, and now is probably going to be next in line for a title shot, man, against Islam. But it was cool just to see that. And I was texting Cam about it. I'm like, bro, he might be one of the ones. Look what he came out to. The event was in MSG, and it was super popping. So I had a really good UFC betting card. I wanted to ask you, though, I've been having this issue with my friends back home. And I've talked to, shouts to Matty Betts, because Matty sometimes he'll have like watch parties with his boys. And one time, Matty missed on a parlay, and his boy was like celebrating that he missed. There's not a bigger pet peeve I have when it comes to like sports and betting than that. Dude, if I have a parlay going, or I have a bet, or I have a future, and this all stems from future discussions that I have with my buddies. They all know I've bet the Rams. They all know I bet Bijan Robinson for Offensive Player of the Year. Anytime someone that's in the race has a good game, they just like all of a sudden are all in on that player. Like 4 weeks ago, they're like, dude, Jonathan Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year, burn that ticket. That shit ain't shit. That bothers me, bro. It deeply bothers me. If you and I are watching Monday Night Football, and you're like, bro, I got a 6-leg parlay, $50 to win $5K. I swear to God, bro, if you have the over on Dak Prescott's yards, and I put $50 on his under, and you just need the yards to go over, I'm not rooting for my bet. I'm being truthful to you. I'm not. It bothers me when I'm watching sporting events with people and they root against my bet, having no money of their own on it, one. Or if they do, am I shitty for like counting people's pockets and their unit size for that?
Yeah, you are. You have to have action on it. If you have action on it, you have to be able to receive it, because at the end of the day, Nick, this is sports betting. And in sports, when you lose, no matter what point in time it is, it stings. And so it would feel like you're stepping outside and it's just raining on you after the bet has happened. The voices get muffled as they just are like, oh, look at, I told you, motherfucker. And, it just gets distorted because you're sad. It's raining on you. But you got to be able to take, this is what we expect of the athlete. And we, in this situation, since we put money on it, are technically athletes. They like to bet too, so like it kind of makes sense now. We have to be able to take it. However, if they don't have action on it, you have full reins to get verbal, and then if the verbal doesn't work, physical, and hopefully by that time, your
cooler heads have prevailed, and maybe
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But you have to be able to take the shit talking, because it makes the winning Nick 10 times better. I've now realized it this year with how much Arkansas has lost.
Yeah.
Let it come, bro. Like pause.
Yeah. So here's the thing though, too, right? There's nothing better. Honestly, I think it's a top 3 feeling in the world. I sincerely believe this. Than you watching a sporting event where you're boys and you're all on the same bet.
Yes.
This is like, bro, it's like a blowjob and then maybe that as like the top 2 feelings, truthfully.
Agreed.
Hard to disagree with that. But if we're all watching an event and we're like, hey, man, what do you got on this? Yo, I got Dak Prescott to score. Yo, me too. He's on my fantasy. Yo, there's nothing better. Dude, one of my favorite moments ever, Super Bowl, forgetting the number, but it was the Rams and the Bengals. I had Rams futures. This is when the Rams won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And there's like 18 of us at my buddy Nick's house, right? And we're watching the Super Bowl, and like half of us have Odell Beckham Jr. first touchdown, and half of us have him to score anytime. And Odell scores the first touchdown of the Super Bowl, and we're just all jumping up and down, high-fiving and shit. And then my friend's, fiance at the time, it's his wife now, she was like, oh my God, that was so fucking cute. Can you guys do that again? And we rewind it and record it. We were like, no, we can't. But like, it was so ill that we were all celebrating that moment. And like, bro, there's not a better feeling than that. And then it upsets me when I'm watching sporting events with people and I got money on it and they root against it. You swung me a little bit. If they have money on it, I shouldn't be a piece of shit and like, the bet size.
Correct.
But also like I've been out with Maddie at Circa and he does his cycle parlay, which shout out to him. He hit it over the weekend.
Yeah.
And the last leg, I had a parlay to win like $400. He had the in the same fight, he had to win 100,000. I can't sit there next to him and be rooting for my bet. First of all, Maddie's also the type of guy to be like, yo, how much did you lose? 400 here. Here's 7.
I get you.
And that's the kind of guy I am too, of that magnitude.
Yes. You have to understand where you stand if you are going to talk shit. But talking shit, in my eyes, should be allowed. Because at the same time, you were a winner in that situation. And if you win, this is all stemming from this year. I've had a personality shift. I used to think that winning arrogantly was the worst possible way to win. And now, Nick, I view it as it is the only way to win, because winning doesn't come around often. And when it happens, you need to celebrate it like it's never going to happen again. That's the way I believe in it, because life isn't fair. And you have to fucking make the most of the wins. Like if Tyler Lockett scores first here, I'm going to go crazy.
Bro, I actually bet Tyler Lockett to score plus 450. Not first touchdown.
It just happened.
It just happened, but I'm in.
He was 21-1 to score first touchdown.
Dude, he's been getting some targets, man.
Lots of targets.
We'll
Okay.
We'll update his.
That was completely impromptu, by the way.
Yo, let us know how you guys feel about this, because it's been a really heated debate. And I told you that some of our banter is going to be like the conversations I have with my friends in the group chat now that we're all playing fantasy football again and bringing it over here. George, before we get into football, bro, I did something for the first time in my life over the weekend.
What'd you do?
It's very rare. It's very rare that I come on the show and I tell you I did something for the first time in my life.
You dated a black chick?
No, I've done that. I'm very cultured. I be outside like.
I was about to say, if you haven't done that yet, like
everybody, I love everybody.
Nice.
I don't like white girls.
I just had to ask.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, and I respect it.
You love the Colombian, so I was just like, I don't know if you went.
Yeah, I'm in.
Nice. Okay, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this.
Okay.
First time ever.
First time ever in my life, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone. I'm just going to speak to you from experience and what I experienced. I went to church on Sunday.
Like church is chicken?
No, like church, like
Christian?
a Christian church, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to a Christian church on Sunday. And I'm talking to this girl. I really like this chick to be going to church on a Sunday. I'm just saying, listen, I go to church every Good Friday and Easter Sunday I'm Greek Orthodox. I do my cross when I step on the mat, when I step off the mat, when I leave the crib, when I come home right before bed. I always do my cross. I'm not like overly religious. Growing up, my mom would be like, dude, just come Good Friday. I ask you to come to church once a year. He's like, Grandma used to make me go to church every Sunday. I'm not going to do that to you, but like, listen, the 3 times a year, just come. So I do it. So I go to church yesterday. And it was fun. I actually enjoyed it. It was like a concert. It was crazy. They were singing. They were jumping up and down. It was wild, right? Again, this is first experience for me. The reason why I'm bringing this up, the pastor comes out. And he's given, during the service, and he's like, I want you guys, as children of God, you have to be giving and thinking of others, even if they're not your family or your friend. So I want you to think in your mind right now, turn to the person to your left, turn to the person to your right, and say a prayer for someone that you don't know and you might not know or might not ever meet. As a child of God, this is what he would want. So I don't turn to my left because I'm with the girl that I'm with. I turn to my right, and there's this old lady next to me. No bullshit, bro, on Veterans Minimum. I turned to her, and do you know what I said?
What?
I'm praying for Jackson Dart. George, I'm not bullshitting you. When he was saying this thing, bro, and he was talking, and I was locked in on him because it kind of like, it was powerful. And I was thinking the first person that came to my mind, bro, was Jackson Dart. And I just turned to her and I was like, I pray for Jackson Dart. And she's like, who? I'm like, Jackson Dart. And she's like, she shakes my hand and she goes, we pray for Jackson Dart. That's where my mind went. I don't know what that says about me.
Wow.
I've experienced nothing but 4 wins for the last decade. I got one. So I'm praying for Jackson Dart, bro.
By the way, God loves honesty. And
I don't lie to my friends. I don't lie to the audience that has given me a platform and a career. I might bend the truth a little bit to a couple of girls here and there. I don't lie to the audience, bro. My dogs, all the legends, the 22%ers out there. This is me. This is what you get.
You prayed for Jackson Dart.
I prayed for Jackson Dart, man. I did.
That's what God wants. He wants Jackson Dart to be good.
That was my prayer, bro. That's what I was. Yo, dude, that was.
What's even better about that, Nick, is it's football Sunday and you're thinking about football while at church.
I had Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown and my phone kept going off because I told one of my friends, I was like, yo, you're not going to believe where I'm at right now. Just let me know who scores touchdowns. And my phone just kept going off. There was only 2 touchdowns.
It was a nighttime service?
Yeah, nighttime service.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to see a full slate of football. That's why football was on the brain.
Football was fresh on the mind, bro. We just hit 2 touchdown scores, a T-Mac. We had a good Sunday.
I'm praying for Jackson Dart because I can tell you right now I'm going to have a lot of futures tied to him next in about 6 to 7 months.
Division, MVP, NFC.
We can just parlay every Jackson Dart
future. Hey, man, listen, I don't know if that makes me a crappy person, but I don't lie. I feel like when you lie, you got to remember all the bullshit that you put together. It's just easier to tell the truth. And that is the first person that came to my mind as this pastor was talking, bro.
Did she tell you what she was praying for?
Yeah, it was like, I don't want to give it away because it was pretty sentimental. She's going through some stuff.
Got it.
Like family stuff. And
you're over here.
I'm over there praying for the 22-year-old.
Everybody in my family can't walk anymore. They're all sick. And I'm praying for them to have the ability to walk. And you're just over here. If I get 13-4 next year with Jackson Dart, that's
listen.
really
I said it on this show last week,
I'm
bro. When I was in the comments, and I got a couple of DMs from people being like, "You would support someone that supports that president?" Or all that. I'm like, yeah. He goes 12-5 in a 3 seed. The expectations have been down here. I'll take what I can get. You get me 13-4, and you're an MVP candidate. I've seen Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito start at quarterback. Yeah, that's Jackson Dart. You my dog, bro.
So
my dog.
Now I have to ask this though: is this going to lead to more Sunday nights? Are going to be church nights type of situation? Because that's
no. I made it like I can't lie, bro. Not that because like so I'm Orthodox, right? And it's the beliefs are not that different. It's pretty much the same. I don't want to say all the same because then people are gonna be like,
I would have no clue. Yeah,
it's the same beliefs. And I had told her, I was like, yo, I don't want to scare you because you know how girls nowadays, if you're like too like blunt, they might be like, ooh, he's weird. Or, I'm like, yo, I really like you to be doing this. So just not like I don't do this like ever. She's like, you're gonna remember me forever. I was like, yeah, my show is gonna hear about this too. Because I was like, I can't wait to tell. I even texted you. I was like, bro, you're not gonna believe where I'm at and the story I'm gonna tell you. I don't think it's gonna be a recurring thing on Sunday. Much respect to everyone that does it. I saw a lot of
For
people
sure.
like, dude, I can't front. The first like half of it, I was just observing everyone. I was like, yo, I understand the. I don't know if obsession is the right word, but like the want to be there. It was powerful stuff, bro.
Was it Canyon Ridge Church?
It was the Crossing.
The Crossing. Okay. Big church.
Massive church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they put on the shows, bro.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I think, churches, just hear me out here. Can we get a multi-view behind the pastor just off to the left? And it's mainly just for score updates. You can honestly put Red Zone up there. I don't need a multi-view. That was asking for too much. But a Red Zone 75 to 85 inch TV behind the pastor, so I can look at the pastor, but also glance off to the left. I think you would make a killing. That's just me.
The pastor was actually using a lot of like analogies to sports. So it was cool. He was dumping on the Cowboys. I was for it.
What are the chances that the pastor on his iPhone right there on the little podium has the multi-view up, and as he's looking down,
do we have a chance at the NFC East actually was beating the Lions last night? Oh man,
fun.
Yeah.
Good on you, by the way. That's big. I haven't been to church in a long time, so
yeah. No, it was cool,
it's
bro. Like,
important.
And listen, again, I don't want to sound naive or ignorant. I don't know if like saying it was cool is like the appropriate thing to say, but it was an interesting experience. I enjoyed it. I went in there like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel, but I left. I was like, yo, I get it now. And sometimes I like experiencing things, and then it adds context to other people that are into it. Like I have a friend, he goes to church every Sunday before football, every time, and like. It's cool, man. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. Yeah. But, yeah, I'm not lying to you guys, man. I thought of Jackson Dart immediately.
Yeah. And when the show does huge numbers and you end up getting with this girl and, like, God becomes in your life, we're going to open up the Church of Football, in which there will be a multi-view behind the pastor on the West Coast. I know it's not an East Coast thing. I was just thinking about it because all the games start at 1:15. But on the West Coast here, man, your game's starting at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That's prime time. We need to see opening kickoff. But you ready to get into it?
I'm ready to get into it. Patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Get access to the Discord, access to the betting picks, and more importantly, we're building a community over here. So thank you all for the support. George, no one likes to take victory laps more than me when I'm right, but I also must admit defeat when I am wrong. We have to start with the Broncos and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos win 22-19. What were your thoughts on this game before I give my thoughts?
The Broncos know how to win close games, and they finally found a coach that is worth a playoff win, in my opinion, on their path. This Broncos team, be afraid. Be afraid. They're not afraid to take the deep shot. Their defense shows up. And Vance Joseph versus Steve Spagnuolo, in which I took the under in this game, ended up being exactly what we got, a defensive slaughterfest. We have found out and figured out now that Cortland Sutton is somebody's name who everybody in the league should just be keeping an eye on, because he's developed as an elite third down weapon for that Broncos team. But they finally found a winning recipe. They have a coach that has instilled winning habits, and it wasn't too far removed from a year in which all the one-loss games or one-score games were losses. And he said it back then that this is the way the NFL is. And now he's developed a team in which they have the confidence to still stay in games, bro. I thought it was impressive. And I'm worried about the Chiefs being able to win the division. I'm pretty sure it's out of their hands now. Even if they win out, they have to have a lot of losses coming by way of the Broncos shitting the bed against really weak teams that they have coming up. That was my thoughts. They got outplayed at the most crucial moments. What about you?
I agree with most of that. You know, when Kelsey scored that touchdown to go up, I thought, okay, they know that they're going to have to throw the ball, Spagnuolo, dial it up on a young quarterback. I get it. But no, man, they came back. Look, I'm not a Bo Nix guy, but man, this dude knows how to perform in the fourth quarter. This year, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. On the year, Bo Nix has 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and also on the ground, he has 3 touchdowns. And yeah, for the first 3 quarters, sometimes you're like, fuck, this guy's going to get 250, 300 million. It's going to be rough for the team. But then in the fourth quarter, man, he has 5 game-winning comebacks in the fourth quarter. And this one was impressive. The one against Philly was impressive. Look, Denver's 9-2, and I got to say, they should be 9-2, right? Because they shouldn't have won that Giants game. They shouldn't have lost that Colts game. To this day, right now, we've talked about it many times. The worst call of the year was the leverage call against the Indianapolis Colts. That and the pass interference between the Rams and the Saints in that NFC title game. I think it's in modern NFL history, at least for me, it's the 2 worst calls I've seen. Like, the leverage call is so fucking stupid. I don't understand it. So Denver should be 9-2, right? Like, there's a lot of teams, like, I would say the Rams, they shouldn't be 8-2. I think they should be undefeated. So there's certain games that go one way or go the other way. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Last year, 11-0 in 1-score games. George, what are they this year?
0-5?
0-5. Last year, 11-0. Now 0-5. What have I been telling everyone that listens to this show for, I don't know, a decade now that I've been doing the show? Record in 1-score games, you cannot expect that to be the norm for you year in, year out. You see it all the time. Look at the Chiefs. Look at Minnesota 2 years ago, 11-0 in 1-score games. Then last year, not so much. Well, not last year. This
2 years before.
2 years before that, before Sam Darnold, like the last Kirk Cousins year. This is what happens, bro. The New York Giants with Daniel Jones in 2022, same thing. Them and the Vikings, when they played each other in that playoff game, it's like, bro, both of these teams are like undefeated in 1-score games. So year in, year out, you're not going to see that. And that's what's happening with Kansas City. The ball doesn't bounce your way. That tip pass interception that you got last year, well, this year you're not getting it. This year they're calling defensive pass interference on you, where last year you did the same exact play. If you're a corner, if you're McDuffie, you didn't get called on it last year. Well, this year you got called on it. I'm just using an example. This is what happens. I think one of the more concerning things is Pat Mahomes this year has a couple of interceptions inside the red zone that are very un-Mahomes-like.
Agreed.
And even yesterday, too. The Jaguars game on Monday Night Football threw a pick 6 to Devin Lloyd. something about him, and like offensive line is better. You have your weapons, like Rashid Rice is back too.
When you look at some of the sacks that he took on third downs and fourth downs, they were him not trusting his first initial instinct, and those are what the game came down to. And when you go back and you watch them, the Broncos just drew up a picture-perfect game plan. He was reckless on that one interception rolling out to his right. But at the same time, if that DB doesn't get a hand on that, you're probably getting the ball on the 2-yard line and scoring a touchdown a play later. It's the give and take with Pat Mahomes. People are saying that he spent the bye week getting hammered at the Texas Tech game. A lot of people are speculating that this is not what he should be doing given the circumstance that his team is in right now. They need to win out. I believe that this team can win out. The sports books believe that this team could win out, given the fact that they're 3-point favorites against what people are saying is the buzzsaw in the AFC with the Indianapolis Colts. That was a very surprising line that I saw as of this morning, but it goes to show how much they believe in the Chiefs. And it's another situation. You know how scary the Chiefs would be, Nick, winning out the rest of these games going into the playoffs? So if any week to bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, you're going to get your best value this week. Because with each win, if they have the opportunity, they would be in the top 3 odds to win the Super Bowl if the playoffs started. Winning out.
Can I disagree with you?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, there's something. So if you look at the Super Bowl odds right now, right? Eagles, Rams, Bills, Chiefs. They might not make the playoffs, bro. Look at their schedule.
It's tough.
They got home Colts coming off a bye. They go to Dallas on Thanksgiving. They play the Texans in Kansas City, the Chargers in Kansas City. They go to the Titans, home to Denver, at Vegas. Can they win out? Yeah, absolutely they can win out. All the tough games are at home. But they're priced off name value only. Like, I look at Denver being 15-1 and being like, yo, bro, they're probably going to get the 1 seed. It's going to go through Denver. And I know in division, maybe that's why. But, man, to your point, you don't even got to – you got to pull the trigger now because it's only going to get worse. If they're already second – they're tied with the Bills at the one book I'm looking at right now as the Super Bowl favorite out of the AFC. So, I don't know, though, man. There's just something about them that is just – it just feels off. It feels off. Look, they're 1-4 on the road, so they're going to have to go on the road in the playoffs. They're getting penalized a lot, too. 10 penalties by the Chiefs. 6 to the offensive line. And in the past, they used to be a team like – that's what they mean, like, yo, this team is undisciplined. They basically talk about penalties. And they're just not that right now. Yeah. And then on the flip side, like, look, Denver's doing this defensively. They shut them down when they needed to, and they still don't got Patrick Surtain. That's massive, bro. It's really massive.
They sent the dogs.
Yeah.
They were blitzing, I believe it was 40% of the time. No. Okay, the Broncos blitzed Patrick Mahomes 14 times in week 11, generating 7 pressures and recording 3 sacks. They modified the strategy at halftime, blitzing 4 times in the first half compared to 10 times in the second half. And you saw it on big-time third downs. Andy Reid was also calling such deep routes that you would look at the frame and you'd be like, well, where the hell did you want Patrick Mahomes to go with this? Now, I do think that Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Part 2, in Arrowhead, with all the chips on the line, I know where my bet's being placed.
Yeah.
because Bo Nix was all game, but throwing the ball deep. Once that gets clicking, those are the explosive plays that you need to get you in position. And I can't wait to see version 2 of this. Didn't necessarily feel like the Chiefs lost that game. They haven't really lost any of their games. They've always been in it. It's just not falling their way this year, but that's fine. I would rather it fall my way at the end of the year.
Well, look, they're 5-5, and all their losses are by 1 score. To your point,
they're due.
Yeah,
and I'd want them due when the money will be made in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it was a great game. But yeah, you have to take your crow. People in the comments fucking eat your crow, buddy. Defense good. Yeah, Nick,
I'm for it.
I'm for it, but I also am like, you guys need to realize it was way closer than
No, but listen, a win is a win, because in that post I got fried, and in the other post I'm getting praised about my Rams call, which segues into this game with the Seahawks. The battle of the NFC West went to the LA Rams, winning 21-19. We didn't get there on the Becky. You didn't get there on the Trust Me. That hook got us. However, shout out to that Rams secondary. Unsung heroes. Listen, there's no Patrick Surtain. There's no cool nickname like Sauce. They don't got a Christian Gonzalez, who, by the way, I've been trying to find Defensive Player of the Year odds, but I think he's missed like 4 games, so he might not be eligible. But his advanced metrics, like, he hasn't given up a touchdown in 18 weeks.
Jesus.
Going back to last year, too. And he's allowing like 22% completion. It's insane. So I just kept scrolling, like, what the fuck? I can't. You know, so much so I was about to call one of the sports books and be like, hey, man, do you have this available? But then they'd probably hang a bad number, because they're like, why the fuck do you want him? Anyway, Rams defense. Durant, Williams, Kitchens, Forbes, who was a castaway, comes over there. They got Young. They got Verse. They beat the Seahawks. Matthew Stafford, quiet game, threw 2 touchdowns. Nothing crazy. But they capitalized on the interceptions by Sam Darnold. Rams offense was not firing on all cylinders. You got to give credit to the Seahawks defense. Seahawks defense was not the reason that they lost this game. Sam Darnold, could we just throw the ball to Jackson Smith and Jigba? Like, why not? He made a crazy one-handed catch up the sideline too. Dude is like almost always open. It's crazy. The Rams are 8-2 or better to start a season for the first time since 2018. And that year, they went to the Super Bowl. I'm loving this team. I've been loving this team since April. So I don't have too much to say. I thought it was a nice statement win to put your foot down. They are going to play again in Seattle. That's going to be a big game as well. I think the deeper conversation needs to be about Sam Darnold.
Big game.
This is now the 3rd time, George, that we've seen him in a big spot where it's like, hey, man. And we said this. They're putting up big numbers, and they're, it's 31-0. It's 28-0 in the first quarter. And you're looking at it, you're like, the Commanders, the Cardinals, backup quarterbacks, like, okay, the Saints. And listen, you beat the shit out of these teams, so I give you that. But then a big dog comes in, and they're like, hey, man, we're not the Commanders, and we're not the Saints, and we're not the fucking Cardinals. And this is now the 3rd time that we've seen him. We actually saw him struggle, get sacked 9 times against the Rams in that playoff game, which I was like, oh, dude, maybe he struggles playing in LA. But if you remember, they played that game in Arizona because of the LA Fires.
Wildfires, yep.
So the Lions game on prime time, then the Rams playoff game, and now this Rams game. 3 big spots where the team is like, hey, man, just don't fuck it up. And he fucks it up.
Yeah.
Is there more to this?
No.
Just big games. He just can't handle it.
It felt very good to see the way that the Rams defense dominated. And all facets. Emmanuel Forbes holding JSN the entire game, finding him. And yes, he had the one-handed catch, which, by the way, if you watch that back, he's a freak athlete. He could have cut to the middle of the field and scored a touchdown. missed opportunity there, and especially in a game that is fucking neck and neck. You got to be able to make the most of your opportunities. But I mean, I loved it. I knew it was going to be a funeral. I'm very, very disappointed in the way that the Rams' red zone offense looks like. Like, Kyron Williams is great. He can get you down there, but that 13 personnel that they were showing all the graphics for, people are starting to figure it out. People are loading the boxes in creative ways and attacking the gaps that they like to run in. So McVay, for being such an offensive-minded coach, to be honest, if you can't score in the red zone in the first 2 plays, what are we doing? Because it's, I'm going to try to run it down your throat, and then the second play is I'm going to get cute with it. And then if that doesn't work, then I'm going back to the running game plan, because we have to be able to score on the 1 yard line with ease. And you got to think about it. In that 4th and goal to start the game, they don't go for that, and they kick the field goal. This is a way different outcome and matchup. So they made the most of their opportunity. I felt like I won it, even though I didn't win it, because I had the Rams with the points, and them not scoring at all on that last drive was very upsetting. Jet sweeps to Puka worked great, and then McVay's like, let's just do that shit again. And what was it? Kobe Bryant just fucking came down and almost ended Puka's season. Getting hit in the hip like that with a safety flying straight downhill is nuts. But this Seahawks team should be worried.
Yeah,
all the fans that were coming after us saying, you guys are going to find out what that defense is about. Yes, they're good. But I think you also have to put it into perspective. Where the Rams were getting the ball, you show all your plays so much earlier in a game that you have for different situations. And then by the end of the game, like, it kind of bites you in the ass because you're not able to get that many explosive plays on the other side of the field. So it was a good game.
No, it definitely was. But you do got to give credit to that Seahawks defense. You know what I mean? Like, this is now yet another time that they should have won a game, but the offense let them down.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the flip side, they won a game in which they had 4 turnovers against the Texans on Monday Night Football that they had no business winning also, right? So it's weird. That's just how football works out. Football works out that way in mysterious ways. I think we do need to spotlight a little bit more Emmanuel Forbes. He matched up with JSN 20 times. It was the most times JSN faced one defender. JSN caught 3 of the 5 targets thrown his way for 30 yards. Season low for him. It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Emmanuel Forbes is a lockdown corner, but he was yesterday. And this is a guy, if I remember correctly, he didn't get drafted by them. I think he was on the Commanders. Yeah, he was a first-round pick for the Commanders 2 fucking years ago, bro. And then gets released, goes to a better organization. We talk about that all the time. Gets an opportunity. And again, this Rams defense, I'll even say Jared Verse is not a big name yet. He ain't Hutchinson. He ain't Max Crosby because he's his second year he's a year and a half into his career. Landman, this guy's making a shitload of plays. He was on a practice squad not too long ago. They got a bunch of no-name guys on defense, but collectively they play so well. And they disguise blitz packages and coverages, and they roll coverages. Like, they are very good. And the defense playing like this, plus this offense, which I still trust the offense. I still think you got the best quarterback in the NFC when you step on the field with him. And look, that's a really good defense in Seattle. I'm not worried about it. I fucking love it. My main focus, I need them to get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go into Philly. It might snow again. You know what I mean? Like,
agreed. Let's avoid that.
Let's avoid that.
Yeah, let's avoid that situation because that's literally the only way the Eagles will be able to advance based on what I've seen so far this year. The one thing I wanted to close on based on the 2 games that we had discussed, they'd been playing the Oz the Mentalist clip from this offseason in which Oz the Mentalist goes to the Rams facility. He gets Matthew Stafford to tell him what the Super Bowl final score is going to be, and he tells him against the team that he thinks it's going to happen against. it was Rams versus Broncos in the Super Bowl. Right now, you can get the Rams to beat the Broncos, which is what they predicted, at 40-1. If you want to parlay the Rams and the Broncos to make it based on O's the Mentalist, that's 23-1. Just keep it in mind. Because if O's correctly predicts Rams to defeat the Broncos with a score of 23-14, he's the greatest human being alive in any facet ever to have existed.
I fucking love shit like this. You know who else does? Sports books.
Mm-hmm.
Remember a couple of years ago when like the correct score leaked?
Yeah.
For, like, the Niners and Chiefs, and because the logo of the Super Bowl is
The
red and like orange
purple.
and yellow or what it was.
Yep.
Everyone's like, dude, it's right. It's like, well, these are also the one seeds. So like
they could predict it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fucking the favorite when the playoffs started to be the Super Bowl. It's not rigged. But then again, you see now it's hilarious. Not really hilarious. It's pretty upsetting, but now anytime like Sam Darnold, some of my buddies are like, yo, Sam Darnold, they got to investigate him, bro. It's like, and now anytime you can't, if you're an athlete, you can't have a bad game no more. Because people are going to be like, yo,
at Cash
Mafia.
Patel.
At Cash Patel, at FBI, at POTUS. Check this shit out. What is happening?
At POTUS.
Every time someone has a bad game now, that's the thing. Speaking of bad games, the Detroit Lions are never going to win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
Mm-mm.
I'm good, bro. I've seen enough. I've been talking about this for years. When they play good teams, they are your high school bully. Watch what they're going to do this week when they play the Giants. They're going to win by 4 touchdowns. They're at home, in the track, Goff 4 touchdowns, everyone else eats. It's going to be like that. Guarantee you. Monday winner early. And 29.5 Detroit. We're going to alt spread it. They're going to beat the shit out of them. They're also 14-0 against the spread after a straight up loss. So it's a good trend. It's one of like the best spots right now with the Dan Campbell and Jared Goff era. However, we've talked about this shit all the time. When they play bad teams, they bully them. They run the score up on them. They embarrass them. When they play good teams, they get punched in the mouth. It looks like how it looked yesterday. You know, Jared Goff in his last 18 attempts was 2-18. Bro, he rough go round for Dan Campbell. You know, he took the play calling duties from John Morton.
I do have a lot to say about that.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there a NFL coach that you would least rather have in your quarterback's ears seconds before a snap? I can't think of one. I love Dan Campbell. I do not want him talking to Jared Goff 15 seconds before Jared Goff has to make critical decisions. Because Dan Campbell's crazy as fuck. There was multiple times in that game yesterday where Jared Goff was missing his first read. There was a vividly remember where he's trying to force feed Amon-Ra St. Brown getting double teamed and the tight end's coming on a drag route wide open. But I can't help but think that that's Dan Campbell in his ear saying, go to your stars. You know who to go to on this one. And it was all week of Dan Campbell just trying to recreate what he created against the Commanders, which, by the way, as a head coach, that's a great, like, yeah, let me start off my play calling career
Against one of the worst teams in the league.
Oh, I'm going to put up records. I'm going to fucking embarrass them because it was a revenge game, whatever. Dan Campbell said he wanted to shake things up. Well, I don't think the shakeup was at all what this team needed. This team is what they are. They had one bad week versus the Vikings, a historically bad week in which they should not have lost that game. But I also don't think that Dan Campbell should step in as that type of coach. That will get him fired. Dan Campbell could have been the hype man for Detroit for the next 10 to 15 years. He would have been the Mike Tomlin of Detroit lore and coaching history. This will get you fired. Thoughts?
I hate when I watch football and teams try to force shit. could we stop with the David Montgomery stuff? Bro,
Agreed.
eye test. And then let's look at stats, right? 6 carries for 27 yards, 15 carries for 71 yards, 11 carries for 40 yards, 13 carries for 21 yards, 4 carries for 24 yards, 9 carries for 12 yards. Like, bro, how do you watch Jahmyr Gibbs get a handoff and then David Montgomery? And I get it, Sonic and Knuckles, cool nickname. They've scored the most touchdowns in the last 3 years together. Whoop-de-doo, bro. The team is better when Jahmyr Gibbs is on the field. I say the same shit about Algier and Bijan. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Why are we forcing this shit? One guy is clearly better than the other. Like, enough with this split backfield shit. I'd rather you just be like, yo, you know what, bro? Montgomery inside the 5, go ahead. But until then, you're not. Until we're in the red zone, bro, like, at least I could respect the Falcons, even though I don't agree with it. They're like, yo, Bijan, you just get us down there. Algier does the rest. At least they're consistent. I don't like it. I fucking hate it. I do hate it. But at least you're like, all right, this is what they're going to run. This is what they're going to do. I can live with that. This shit, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And then Jared Goff, they're never going to win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. He's okay. When Jared Goff is on the field with a Josh Allen, a Pat Mahomes, a Joe Burrow, you're like, damn, there's a massive difference here. When he plays Jacoby Brissett and Marcus Mariota, and even Dak Prescott to a certain extent, you're like, oh, it's nice to have Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
I just see he needs everything to be perfect, and then when things were already so perfect for him, he fucked it up too.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say, staying on this game, like, we need Howie Roseman to like run the country, because who the fuck builds a team like this? Talk about a guy who, Jalen Phillips, for a 3rd-round pick, comes in, gets his first sack as an Eagle, leads the team for a 2nd straight week in QB pressures. The Eagles defense is quietly back.
Yep.
And I think it's kind of being overshadowed by how bad the offense has been, really. But bro, 3 of 13 on 3rd down. The season low for Detroit. Cooper DeJean got his first pick of the year. Mitchell, shutdown corner, and he's becoming a star again. And the other thing that they're doing is they had 10 pass breakups.
That defensive line, you see this every single year in the NFL, and you're going to see it the rest of the year too. They get told so much on the film when they watch it that all you got to do is just put your hands up.
If you can't get to the quarterback, just fucking throw your hands up.
And not only if you can't get to the quarterback, but situationally, you look at them, they understand, okay, it's 3rd and 3. I know he's throwing a curl route right here. I've watched the ball go past my head 55 times this season. They finally realized, hey, let's mucky this up. And they were unreal. It looked almost like Justin Herbert was back there with how much the ball was getting batted down, but it was just Jared Goff. And that was here's another thing I have to, before we just start glazing on the Eagles, because I do think that this is a team destined to make a lot of teams upset come playoff time. Dan Campbell, you're 0-5 on 4th downs. Then on the most crucial 4th down of the game, there's 5 minutes left. You're down by 10. It's 4th and 10. And now we punt it? I was shocked. That's what being an offensive coordinator does. It doesn't allow you to look at the game from the perspective that you need to from the head coach. Too big of a shift for him. Nick, isn't that nuts? There was 5 minutes left in the game. Fucking, what's it to you to go 0-6 on 4th downs? Crazy work, bro.
Yeah.
Nakobe Dean for the Eagles might be the difference maker on that team moving forward defensively. Being able to cover Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield one-on-one. Enough said. Probably the toughest. You could not pay me any dollar amount to try to guard Jahmyr Gibbs to save my life. Nakobe Dean did it on third down, on a wheel route, on angle route. He's special.
Yeah. He's a baller, man. And even like Campbell is a top 5 candidate for Rookie of the Year. They're just loaded. They've gotten to a point now where any acquisition they make, you know it's going to work. And every draft pick they make, you just know, like, yeah, you're going to hear from that guy.
Yep.
Like even Dotson, right? He comes in and he makes some plays for him. Or at least they look for him on, like, crucial downs.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, he was a 1 or 2 pick, first or second round pick for the Commanders. They gave him away for nothing. Jalen Phillips. Get him from Miami. And I know it was kind of like a borderline fire sale. There was a bunch of people up, but, you know, Jalen Hurts, man, just quietly just wins. Like, just finds a way to win. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be toxic. Did they get bailed out on that call on Rock Scene with A.J. Brown?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. So much so that Chris Collinsworth was like, that's fucking ridiculous. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he really wanted to say.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, they're in bed with these leagues. They don't want to be slandering the league, but sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, yo, bro, we'd be crazy to not address this. Like, we see what you're seeing. So, I will say, the one concerning thing for the Eagles, Saquon don't look right.
It's not... he's not able to get to the angles that he's able to get to that he was last season, all because Mekhi Becton's not in there. I said what I said. That man's a difference maker. When you look at all the highlights from last year, go look at what they did with Mekhi Becton and Lane Johnson together. It was unreal. Losing that piece was I think the real difference in the way that this run game looks. And I know Becton's been dealing with injuries this year, and maybe that they had insider info on that already, and they just kind of knew that that's the projected outcome for the rest of his career. But I can see it where he's not able to get downhill at the gap the way that he was last year.
I mean, look, last year he had only 5 games in which he had under 100 yards. And mind you, he didn't play in that last game, right? This year, do you know how many 100-yard rushing games he has? If you had to guess.
3?
1. 150 yards against the Giants, which we called. First real revenge game for him.
Cowboys.
And then he had 83 yards yesterday. And he had 88 yards against the Chiefs. There's a lot of 40s. A 30, 44, 60. He just doesn't look the same. And I wonder, you know, there is that stat about the year after a running back gets north of 400 touches, there's a decline. You're not getting 400 touches where, like, what? All but 30 you don't get smoked in or hit?
Yeah.
Like you go untouched or you run out of bounds? Let's say 40. So 10% of your carries, you're getting your shit punched in. Bro, I think he had like 470-something carries all year. If you go all the way to the Super Bowl, it's like, yeah, there is a massive drop-off. That's a number to always monitor. And there's anomalies like Derrick Henry. Now, Derrick Henry had a pretty good game yesterday, and you look at his numbers, he averages like 6 yards a carry in December, and then in January, like 5.4. It's like, all right, cold months now. It's 12 degrees out. You don't want to tackle fucking 6'3", 260 or whatever the fuck he is.
Correct.
But yeah, I think it's a really telling number, and I think if Barkley is not the player that he was last year, they could be had because everything starts with them running the ball. And if they can't run the ball and you force Jalen Hurts to throw, it gets a little ugly. I'm not saying he can't throw, but when he's forced to throw, sometimes it gets uncomfortable.
Agreed.
So it's something to monitor with the Philadelphia Eagles. The full Jameis Winston experience yesterday, that was nice. I enjoyed it.
I told you would.
Yeah,
in the offseason, there was no way that the Giants would experience any point in time of this season in which whoever was at quarterback wouldn't be electrifying. And you got to experience it. 19 looks good on him.
I liked it.
Did you feel the crowd get behind him? He's a big... not saying that the Giants needed energy, but just a breath of fresh air at quarterback. It's refreshing to see somebody drop back, be able to hit Wan'Dale Robinson, keep the offense still intact, and make people not want to quit. So yeah, I'm happy for you. You guys almost pulled it out. This Packers team, the Jordan Love throwing fadeaway 30-yard deep balls, there has to be a metric on that specific throw he makes, because right now he has to be at 70% or higher. It's unreal the way that this dude could be off platform, bounce around. Their scramble drills, they're the best in the league. And that's how they win games. Truthfully.
I have a little bit of a different take.
Okay.
Right now, the Green Bay Packers to miss the playoffs. They're plus 300. Bro, I think it's live. Hear me out. I think Tucker Kraft is, let's say, Brock Bowers. Based on what you saw a team play offensively, he might be the most valuable tight end in the league. I think it's a massive loss for them. It was his check down guy, big body over the middle. I think it's a massive loss. So, plus 300 to miss the playoffs. They got home to the Vikings in division. They play the Lions on Thanksgiving. Then they play the Bears. Then they play at Denver. They play the Bears at home. They play the Ravens in Green Bay. That's going to be a big game for Baltimore. And they end the year in Minnesota. I think it's possible, bro. I think it's possible. I think the Tucker Kraft, look, Jacobs is going to be week to week now with the injury as well.
Another MetLife casualty.
Yeah. It was something that stood out to me. And then if you go a little bit further and you just look at the playoff picture, right? Because that's what you got to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
If you go at the playoff picture right now, they're not first in their division. They're not second in the division. They're third. This thing is not loading on me, but I don't know. That schedule kind of looks a little. What do you think of the schedule that I rattled off, bro?
It's out of all the divisions to have it set up for them just to go full blast at the end of the year, they pick the right division.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the ever living shit out of each other. Do I think that they can win 500 in that stretch? I don't think it's possible. I think they go under 500, which would mean that they finish with a win total of 9. And does 9 get you in the playoffs this year?
So this is how you got to look at the playoff seeding. The Seahawks and the Niners and the Rams, I think you pencil in 3 playoff teams from the NFC West. The Niners are going to just fall into the playoffs because their schedule is really favorable. And even though they're getting injured a lot, if they still have McCaffrey and Kittle and now they just got Brock Purdy back, I think they'll be fine enough. They're a good enough coach team that they'll be able to navigate it through. Okay. So you got the 5 and the 7 seed taking care. You're going to have to win your division if you're Green Bay, I think.
Yeah.
Because Detroit is in that mix. They're technically a half game behind you, but now they got that game on Thanksgiving against you. And, bro, look, you text me this about Chicago. You're like, yo, we're going to make a lot of money betting against Chicago. Chicago's first in the division. Not a lot of people saw it, except for me. They were my division winner. Have I been, like, overly enthusiastic about the Bears? No. A lot of times I'm like, how the fuck are they winning these games?
Yep.
But there's always that team that just makes no sense. Like, how the fuck do they keep winning these games in the fourth quarter? Caleb Williams is another one. Him and Bo Nix, a lot of similarities. I know it's the same draft class, but you watch them on a couple of drives, you're like, oh. And then you watch them on a couple of drives, you're like, oh. Same verbiage. Context and the emotion is way different.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, when he has his weapons, I think Jacobs is a big loss. And to your point, with the schedule, they do play the Bears twice. They play Minnesota twice, and then they have that game with the Lions. So of their next 7 games, 5 of them are in division. It's going to come down to that. I think them missing the playoffs is a bet that I've already made.
Plus
and mind you,
300.
I do have a Bills-Packers preseason future 50-1. I made that bet 2 days before Michael Parsons got traded there, and then it jumped to 25-1. Actually became the favorite for a couple days before the season started. But when you do make bets like this, by the way, it's all subjective. That's what sports betting is. Like, I'm higher on the Bears than you are.
Yeah.
So to you might be hearing this like, bro, this kid's fucking crazy. They're going to beat the Bears twice. They're going to beat Minnesota. Well, we also thought Minnesota was going to lose on the road to Detroit in division, that NFC North. They always play each other tough. And then I'm looking at that Ravens and that Broncos game. That's going to be for playoff seeding for Denver, and it's going to be for the AFC North for the Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think, you know, and it has nothing to do with yesterday's game because, you know, they were going to beat the Giants anyway.
But it's a history now, especially after seeing what the Carolina Panthers were able to do to them at home. Like, I know it was a look-over spot, but what I said at the beginning with Jordan Love being unreal on fadeaway throws and the scramble drill, like, those aren't things that you need to be good at. That's not what a good team looks like. That looks like a team that's gotten extremely lucky. And like I said, the Giants should have won. It was a huge third down in the middle of the field versus that Giants game yesterday in which he floated in the pocket. He floats back, chucks it up, and we've seen it constantly throughout this year. It just so happens they get lucky. It happened like 3 times versus the Steelers. Like, this is just a team that, yeah, I don't want that type of luck. At least with the Broncos, you get dialed up plays down the field that aren't, you know, fucking fadeaways.
Yeah.
It's a good one to monitor.
Well, you mentioned the Panthers there, and I don't know if you saw, I got a little antsy when you said the Panthers because, bro, that game that they lost to the Saints, that fucking Panthers call would have been so money right now. Because, you know, the Bucks, they play the Rams in L.A. Sunday Night Football this week.
Yeah.
The Panthers are playing Monday Night Football in San Francisco. So maybe they both lose. Right now, they actually have better odds than 2 weeks ago when I gave them out to win the division. Now they're plus 400 to win the division. Carolina, shout out to T-Mac. T-Mac this year, the 2 times I've said he's going to score 2 touchdowns, bro, he scored the 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys, against the Falcons. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he has 4 touchdowns on the year.
Oh, my God.
And the 2 times he scored 2 touchdowns, he was plus 1,500 and plus 1,200 to do so, and I was on it. So, shouts to, I might be the T-Mac whisperer is what I'm saying.
You are.
Yeah, he got there late. He has 4 touchdowns on the year, and the 2 times I've given him out to score 2 touchdowns, he scored 2 touchdowns. Shouts to T-Mac, bro. They said you couldn't get separation. I'm seeing you getting separation.
Yeah.
Scoring touchdowns.
He's a good player. You're falling for the Bryce Young show. Best game of his career.
Yeah, best game of his career.
448 yards.
Look, this has nothing to do with the Panthers. I'm watching this Falcons game yesterday, and our boy Bijan Robinson scored 2 touchdowns. Good for him. Of course, the week that we're not on it, score. That's usually how it goes, right? I want to give a shout out to one man and one man in particular. His name is Terry Fontenot.
Okay.
Fontenot. He's the GM of the Falcons. The way he's handled this team the last 2 years, lifetime ban from being a GM. So hear me out.
Okay.
I also asked my buddy, shouts to Alan Sturk. I hit up Alan, and, you know, he covers the Falcons. So I wanted to get from a source that knows the team really well. And I wanted to ask him a couple of questions. I was like, yo, I think that they're one of the most mismanaged teams in the league. And they have a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. George, do you know that next year they don't own their number 1 pick?
Did not know that.
Do you know who owns their number 1 pick?
Is it somebody in division?
No, it's someone that I have a boner for all year.
Oh, Giants.
No,
No. Wait.
the Rams.
This year.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I always have a boner for the Giants, pause. But this year it's the Rams, right?
Got it.
Raheem Morris, 18 months ago, when they drafted Michael Penix, said that they'll never draft this high again. At the moment right now, their top 10 pick belongs to the LA Rams. The way they've mismanaged Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, you give Kirk Cousins off an Achilles tear the money that you gave him, and then you get a quarterback who got sent to IR, and he had all these injury concerns coming out of the draft.
Yep.
This guy got redshirted, 12 times?
Yeah. Tore his ACL in 2018, clavicle fracture in 2019, retore his ACL in 2020, AC joint sprain in 2021, and 2025 suffered a bone bruise in his left knee, and now he's on IR. Crazy.
They traded up to get into the first round this past year to draft the two edge rushers. Well, one of them, they traded up to draft one of the edge rushers. And if I was an owner of a team and my GM is like, yo, we're about to trade up, I'm like, oh, we're taking a quarterback? They're like, nah, edge rusher. I'm going to be like, the fuck you're not. I'm not trading up unless I'm getting a quarterback. I just don't do it, bro.
It feels dope because that edge rusher you're talking about, James Pierce Jr. My brother locked him up.
Hell yeah, talk that
Tennessee
shit, bro.
game.
Talk that shit.
So that's who you traded up for.
You trade up for him, right? But
interesting.
It's just the Penix pick, the money to Kirk Cousins. You trade away your number one pick next year. Bro, the Rams potentially can win the Super Bowl and have a top 5 pick next year. Because you know Kirk Cousins is going to start now. And you know how we feel about Kirk Cousins.
Oh, inshallah.
I mean, bro, he came into the game yesterday and I didn't because I had money already on it. I wanted to live bet the Panthers. The Panthers go on to win. I just think the way they've mismanaged it has been a nightmare. They're a very delusional franchise since 2019. The Panthers, Jets, and Falcons are the only teams to not make the playoffs since 2020. And it's dumb shit like this. Look at the organizations we're talking about. Carolina mortgaged the farm for Bryce Young. Maybe this year it finally turns around, right? We were just claiming they could win the division. It'd be crazy to slander it, but how many times have I done this? The 6-7 with Bryce Young this year.
Yeah.
So, and again, 2 weeks ago you warned me, yo, you're getting excited. They played the perfect game against the Packers and they lose to the Saints. Yesterday he has a career game playing the Falcons. Yo, just be careful. They play the Niners now prime time. But to me, that game yesterday was more about Atlanta than it was anything to do with the Panthers.
Yeah.
I just think top to bottom, it's been an absolute nightmare. The way they've handled this team. They're 3-7, looks like a lost season, and they also lose Drake London for at least the next week. But this is a team, bro, that not too long ago, that Monday Night Football game was the coming out party where it was the young, flashy team in the South. They beat the Bills, who's a Super Bowl contender. Like, bro, people thought we had a crystal ball the way I predicted that game. I said, trust me, the +5. I said, Bijan Robinson legacy game. And since then, they haven't won. Completely mismanaged.
They've gone against the legacy. By the way, Bijan's first touchdown, go back and watch it. Watch him on the goal line, power through 3 defenders, bounce off like they weren't even there, and he walked into the end zone. Watch that clip over and over and over and over again and tell me that you still need Tyler Algier to give carries to down in the goal line. That single play, I was like, I rest my case.
Yeah.
It was crazy, bro. He got crushed in the hole. Defensive lineman hit him from behind. Pause. This entire conversation was paused. He busted out of that shit. He's a freak athlete, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other game you want to discuss from the weekend?
Yes, I want to discuss Shador's appearance, in which he enters the game. He has the lead. He then proceeds to throw an interception. He threw for 47 yards, and I believe he was 4 of 17. You can't lose in that spot when you had the Ravens on the ropes. You can't. That's a spot. I don't give a shit if you haven't taken snaps with the first team. Shador, you knew that if anything happened to Dylan Gabriel in this game, that you were going to come in. So you can't tell me that this was a freak situation in which you were third on the depth chart and they threw your ass in. You have to be ready to maximize your opportunity, because I'll tell you what I did, and I don't know if you did the same thing. As soon as I knew Shador was playing, he got audio on the multi-view every single time that they were on a drive. This is what the world was going to expect from you. And he fucked up, bro. And I'm not holding it against him, but given the spot that he was in, you got to find a way to at least maneuver your team into scoring position.
Look, I feel like the slander that he got the whole offseason, the draft process and everything, was unwarranted. There's a racial component to it. I'm a white guy. I can't say that there isn't or there is. I just feel like there might be. Dylan Gabriel hasn't been lighting it up. There's a lot. I feel bad for the dude. And yeah, he's a friend of the shows that I'm a part of, and he's been on It Is What It Is. I get that. I think you have to call it how you see it, bro. He went 4 of 16 for 47 yards and an awful interception. And he didn't find any success until the last drive. I will say he did throw a nice pass into the end zone that got dropped. But was not the brightest. You got to give him a little bit of a pass. Wasn't prepared. I get it. But you're at home. Ravens defense isn't exactly the 86 Bears. But, you know, the other quarterback didn't play that well either. I didn't think Lamar Jackson played that well too. And, bro, you know what else I was thinking about watching that game? I think he's still hurt. I think they're forcing him back.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the Bengals, man. The fucking Bengals. It's a tie the two in because it's the same division. Losing that game to the Bears and losing that game to the Jets, like, this division could have been legitimately yours.
Mm-hmm.
Instead now, like, I think it's a wrap for you. But you're talking about those 2 wins. If you would have had them, you're looking at a different conversation.
Agreed.
With the Bengals. And it's frustrating. But the thing with Shador Sanders, yeah, when he came in, that's when the Ravens ended up winning that game.
And that's what he had. I mean, he had to have known that this was going to happen at some point in time in this season. And I would have liked to have seen him really, like, take over on a game-winning drive. Like Jackson Dart and his opening day appearance, and I knew he knew he was gonna be the starter all week. But he made plays in which, okay, the pocket's breaking down. I'm gonna break through the pocket and I'm gonna try to make somebody miss on the second level. He was doing some college bullshit the way he was fucking scrambling around. But we'll see this week. I'm praying to God that they don't rush Gabriel back from this concussion protocol. It's pretty much locked in that it's going to be him with one guaranteed start this week. Who do they have?
They play the Raiders here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Out of all games in Vegas, I mean, it might sell out his first official start. And it's been pretty rough. And the Raiders are getting their ass kicked right now, 24-6. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But that game I definitely wanted to touch on just because
yeah,
it was too important not to. Bills Bucks.
Yeah. Last thing though with the Ravens, I do think like Lamar is hurt, but I think Baltimore is like, yo, bro, listen, you at 40% is better than any other shit we could put out there. So just do it. Like there was a couple of times that he could have ran, but I feel like he didn't run because he still might be a little hobbled. But we'll see. Right now they're the favorites to win their division. Bills and Bucks. I think injuries are starting to catch up with Tampa Bay, even though Tucker had an amazing game, incredible game, scored 3 touchdowns. And I think Josh Allen needs to do what he did yesterday every single week for them to have a legitimate chance. They benched Keon Coleman. Doesn't seem like a lot of guys can get open outside of Shakir. James Cook, we said it a couple weeks ago. It might have been last week, actually. You take away James Cook. Yeah, it was when they played the Dolphins. You take away James Cook, you could take away this whole offense. But he did what only one other person has done in NFL history, that scored 3 touchdowns in the air and 3 on the ground. And you know who did that? Him last year when they played the Rams.
Yep.
So he had to literally put the cape on, 6 touchdowns. That was a really good game. Like, it was back and forth until like a minute or 2 left in the third quarter. And that's when Buffalo went on its run there. But I will say, we always talk offense, we always talk defense. There was a couple of games in Week 11 that special teams won it. Not so much the kicking, but the kick returns. Chicago, big return to set up the game-winning field goal. Buffalo, key returns to start drives on their 36, the 49, the 44, and the Bucks 46. Ray Davis, 158 return yards. Mecole Hardman, 61-yard return. That shit, you're talking about 20, 25-yard swings on the field. It's massive, bro.
Agreed.
It's massive. So, yeah, Josh Allen was 19 of 30 for 317 yards, threw 2 interceptions. This was the first win this season for the Bills in which they had multiple giveaways.
Yeah.
But he had to put the cape on.
Of course, he had to put the cape on. And one of the giveaways was so bad. His 2-handed shovel pass that got picked off when they were backed up on their own goal line was just like, damn, dude, we can't be doing this. And that was early in the game, too. I thought that singular interception was the end of the Bills season. Like, that was what I was going to come in today if the Buccaneers had run rampant on them and dominated them. We don't get to have that story now. The only story that we have to tell is this version of Josh Allen or prime Cam Newton. You have one choice to win a game for you with those 2 quarterbacks and those versions, because I think they're relatively similar. I think you got to go with Josh.
So I agree with you, but I feel like the conversation around Cam Newton has gotten really ridiculous the last 8 months.
Damn.
However, I have always been saying, like, yo, in a big spot, in a big game, I know he's not going to be the reason his team loses. He does show up. Josh Allen, that is. I would take Josh Allen. However, I think we measure success for players with, like, championships and rings. But you know I'm a big context guy. That 2015 season that Cam Newton had, where they went 15-1, the team that he legit carried, 35 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and then on the ground, just went absolutely nuclear also. Sorry, it just adjusted on me right now. In 2015, he scored 10 touchdowns on the ground. He had 59 first downs. Like, I don't think any quarterback has ever done more with less.
Fair enough.
Jericho Cotchery, Philly Brown. I think Kelvin Benjamin might have gotten hurt that year. And it was like, oh my God, Kelvin Benjamin's out. Like Jonathan Stewart in the background, in the backfield, I should say. Like, all right, the defense, you know, they still had Kuechly. They had Josh Norman. They were legit defensively, but like, bro, he won an MVP. You know what I mean? Josh Allen has one MVP. And I know the graphic popped up of Josh Allen now needs 2 more touchdowns to surpass Cam Newton, which is crazy because, like, Josh Allen still, I think, has, like, 3 to 4 more, like, prime apex. Because he's not going to be running like he is now when he's, like, 37. He might transition into, like, a pocket passer more. Not that he's not already. But, you know, the wear and tear is going to catch up to them. But, bro, like, let's not get crazy, dude. Cam Newton was fucking carrying people, bro. One-time All-Pro, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same season. That hasn't been done by many, many people. And all right, he didn't dive on the football in the fucking Super Bowl. All right, yeah. You ask him now, he's like, man, I wish I would have fucking dove on that shit, bro, so y'all could just hop off. Fuck. But I think what he did in that 1 year, like, I remember talking about it this summer when people, because he criticized Jalen Hurts, and I didn't think he was wrong, bro. I felt this. I was saying the same shit. I was like, yo, Jalen Hurts in the regular season is not a top 10 quarterback. In the playoffs, when it matters, give me him, Josh Allen, and Mahomes. But in the regular season, September to January, no, he's not a top 10 quarterback. You look at their numbers.
Yep.
They're not. So, yeah, I know that triggered me a little bit, but I always fucked with Cam Newton, man. I think he's great, man.
I mean, it's an ultimate question, and I would love for people to let us know in the comments who they would take between this version of Josh Allen and Cam Newton at his prime.
Yeah. There's one other thing I want to mention from this weekend, bro.
Okay.
NFL history.
Yes.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett set the record for most completions in an NFL game. And you know what I say to that? Not all stats matter. Because they lost by 3 possessions. So it's one of those stats I feel like ESPN will throw up and like make it a big deal. Yeah, 47 completions. Crazy.
Agreed.
They also lost by 3 scores. So what are we doing, man?
C-Mac was getting loose on him.
C-Mac was going crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. 57 attempts, 452 yards.
Very efficient. Very efficient.
He looks so much better than anything Kyler Murray has done for the last 3 years.
Oh, bro, yeah. And if you're Trey,
you're
Trey McBride, you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit all these incentives now with this guy at quarterback. I know people that got him in fantasy are probably like, yeah, Trey McBride. Look, Trey McBride was like minus 150 to score a touchdown yesterday. It's crazy.
Nuts.
He peaked at like plus 280 with fucking Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, this is Kyler Murray. I know I told you Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be a Jaguar, but Kyler Murray, I think for certain is not on the Cardinals next year because they flat out just benched them.
Mm-hmm.
They flat out just benched them. And they're like, yo, we're going to go with the better hand.
I'm really worried about if the Tyler Shook experience goes really sour that he might end up in New Orleans. It seems like it would happen.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Let's move on to... let's do Monday winner.
Let's do it.
And then let's do Thursday night football picks, which by the way, 2-0 on my yardage props. I think Thursday night football, I'm going to just do yardage props.
It's a good way to go.
I had Troy Franklin 2 weeks ago when we started this. He went over 36.5 yards. And then last week, I think it was 35.5 yards was Mason Taylor. He went over that as well. This week, we have the Bills and the Texans. But my Monday winner, it is the Detroit Lions minus 10.5. I said it before. Detroit with Dan Campbell and Jared Goff off a loss is undefeated against the spread. And they're at home where they play better. They just got embarrassed on prime time. I'm going to do a same game parlay as my anytime touchdown parlay this week. I'll save it for the show on Thursday.
Okay.
For this week, Monday winner, week 12, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to beat the New York Giants minus 10.5.
That's a good one.
What do you got?
I do also have a whale play in effect for my Monday winner.
Talk to me.
Patriots minus 8.5 at Cincinnati. We haven't talked about the Bengals yet, so I figured maybe we can end with the Jamar Chase saga. The franchise is in disarray. The Patriots, who have proven they could be offensive juggernauts, are going against historically one of the worst defenses the NFL has ever seen. Minus 8.5 was crazy to me. I like it all the way up to minus 23.5, where I saw plus 455. The whale play is in effect this week. And it's the same team I did it with my first whale play when they were going to play the Tennessee Titans. Same situation. Shit franchise. They're going to take care of business. That's my Monday winner. Patriots -8.5.
You know, I just think that they're on a 3-game losing streak since they beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. And then we laid out the blueprint for them to maybe, you know, make the playoffs, win the division, AFC, and the Super Bowl. But those 2 losses to the Bears and the Jets, because right now you'd be looking at them being 5-5. Way different.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, we're a game back at the Steelers, and we're going to get Joe Burrow back. And like Pittsburgh now, Aaron Rodgers got hurt. We should mention that. Has a fractured hand. And then the Ravens, like, it's not the Baltimore that we've been accustomed to. I still think Lamar Jackson is hurt. So a lot to be desired with the Baltimore Ravens, but the Bengals, I just can't. That defense is just really, really bad. And Zach Taylor will not be the coach for this team moving forward. Maybe he goes and becomes a great offensive coordinator. I think that's in his calling. But that's going to be a desirable job.
Very desirable.
Yeah.
All the offensive positions.
Let me ask you this.
Hit me with it.
I'm going to give you 3 teams. Giants, Jets, Bengals. Power rank the most desirable jobs, top to bottom.
Bengals, Giants, Jets. Bengals, I have it now, and I could also utilize their current value to go get King's ransom at the end of the day. Giants have the prospects lined up and in place, but I'm going to be truthful. We've seen it for 5 games. 4 games where like everybody is together. Not even Malik Neighbors being gone immediately kind of shoots that in the foot. So I don't necessarily know if it's all that it's cracked out to be with the Giants. And then the Jets, you could want draft picks all you want. You still need to choose the right ones. I don't give a fuck how many you have. So not as desirable, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the Bengals, I don't care if their practice facility smells like rotten eggs and their meeting rooms are equivalent to a junior college auditorium. I don't care. As long as you got 9-1 out there, I'm cool with it. So that's how I feel.
Yeah. You know, it's, I think, am I crazy for maybe wanting the Jets?
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking about, you think I'm crazy for wanting the Jets?
Yeah, I hear Jets fans trying to like spin this.
So I'm saying if I'm going into a situation and I'm a first-time GM, I'm a first-time coach, I think with the Jets, and look, I obviously, you know how I feel about Jackson Dart, and we all feel the same consensus about Joe Burrow. But I'm talking about like I could really build this shit out the way I envision. They might be the ones, bro. Ton of cap space. Star running back, star wide receiver. How many fucking draft picks do they have over the next 2 drafts? You're really 1 draft away from turning your franchise around. And I think I would pick the Jets, bro. And again, I love Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
They also have a lot of cap space. They'll have some draft capital, and we know about Joe Burrow. But I'm talking about if I'm a first-time GM, the most desirable job for me, so I could have my imprint on the team, it got to be the Jets. Did I swing you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a, do you want to win now or do you want to be on the constant hunt for who your next superstar quarterback is going to be? Like that's the fear that I have for any New York team that you listed in that hypothetical, is that in one situation, I don't have to figure out the toughest thing there is to do in the NFL. In the other situation, there's lots of trial and error, and I pray to God that they give me 5 years to really put together what I envision. But this is a league in which any team in the NFL can be good now.
Yeah. And
so I would rather have the ability to be good right now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
That was a fun conversation.
It was. Did you give your Thursday night pick?
No, I'm gonna be immature for my Thursday night pick.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going with the Woody Chubb anytime touchdown parlay, 16-1.
Woody Chubb. That's good.
That's good, right?
That's good. That's going to be good for the Woody Chubb parlay.
The Woody Chubb parlay. Yo, 16-1 anytime touchdown. Could run on Buffalo.
Agreed.
Could hit backs out the backfield.
I had just seen
Achane just ran wild 2 weeks ago. Tucker went crazy. I think both could score.
Agreed.
Yeah, Woody Chubb parlay, baby.
Woody
16-1. Talk about that for Flamingo. Get crazy with the animations, bro.
The Woody Chubb parlay could happen. It could be the staple of the show, really, for the end of the year, if it hits this time. We're definitely going to keep putting it in. Mine is going to be Josh Allen longest run over 12.5 yards. He's now entered the I am going to put the cape on every single game season or part of the season. So that one's a lock. Over 12.5 for his longest rush. That's my Thursday Night Football pick.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Hey, absolute banger of an episode. Thank you all for watching. Please rate, review, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. I'll never call it X, on Twitter. George, am I missing anything?
Nope, that is it. See you guys on Thursday. Peace.
I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.